$96,000.
Holla.
96,000.
Yo, somebody won.
96,000.
Yo.
Hi, welcome to Flashback Friday. Thanks for joining us. We hope you're joining us for a lot of the video content that we're creating these days, including Movie Club, which started this week and will continue through the summer. The first movie we highlighted in Movie Club was Grease Live, directed by Thomas Kail. And today we're highlighting another musical that was originally directed by Thomas Kail, and one that we were very proud of the way we did last summer. It's In the Heights, the show that introduced the many talents of Lin-Manuel Miranda to Broadway. Lin-Manuel Miranda grew up in Manhattan, in the area just south of the Washington Heights district that's depicted in the musical. His father was an important political advisor, his mom a psychologist. So with two working parents, he needed a babysitter. And they were happy to locate the same woman who had babysat his father when his father first immigrated from Puerto Rico. This was Lin-Manuel Miranda's surrogate grandmother, or abuela, and her presence in his life is definitely reflected in the musical he wrote. When he grew up, he loved listening to Broadway cast albums. There was a 60-minute interview where Lin-Manuel Miranda took us around his childhood bedroom and pulled out these LPs of the Broadway shows he listened to. He pulled out Camelot and immediately started doing Then You May Take Me to the Fair with all of its twisty lyrics. And when you listen to it, you think, that's not so far from rap, is it? He listened to a lot of different kinds of music in his neighborhood. Out of the windows, you'd hear salsa, R&B, rap, rock and roll, in addition to his beloved musicals. In high school, he secured one of the leads in a Gilbert and Sullivan play, which again had a lot of rapid patter, and he got very good at doing that. He went to see the show Rent. And Rent really surprised him. He had never seen a musical that was set in the present day, and a musical where he could watch the stage and see himself in it. So he decided to write his own show, and he wrote a love story that happened to be taking place in the Washington Heights district. When he was a sophomore at Wesleyan University in Marymount, Connecticut, they did a production of his show. And one of the upperclassmen came to him and said, you know, when I graduate, I'm going to be a Broadway producer and I want to bring this show to Broadway. Well, people say things like that and you know they're sincere, but you don't think anything will take place from it. Well, Miranda graduated and this gentleman got back in touch and said, I'm running a series of new play readings at the Drama Bookshop in downtown Manhattan. We'd love to have your show be one of them. So they brought it and they started doing workshops of it every week. A young man named Thomas Kail, another graduate of Wesleyan, came up to Miranda and said, I've always really liked this piece. Let me tell you what I would do if I were ever to direct it. Well, certainly some Broadway people did start coming, and they brought on board the distinguished Latin playwright Chiara Alegria, who was a very good combination with Miranda working on the script. And she helped flesh out the character of Nina, which is really based on her own experiences. It came together really well, and they had an off-Broadway production at the Public Theater, and then it opened on Broadway in 2008, just 8 years after Miranda had presented it at his 20th birthday party. So it worked very quickly for him and really established him. It ran for over 1,000 performances on Broadway, and it won 4 Tony Awards for Best Musical, Best Score, Best Choreography, and Best Musical Arrangements. We were very excited to get the rights to do it last year. But having seen the show many times in New York, we had a lot of alumni who went into it. I knew that the twisty lyrics might be a challenge for the sometimes echoey acoustics of the Century 2 Concert Hall. So, Director of Production Mitch Sutherland and I got together with Josh Gordon of Event Systems and our sound designer David Meal, and we brought in a new kind of sound system into Century 2 last year for the summer. The newest kind of speakers in 2 long towers that we hung over the audience. And sure enough, on opening night, the sound was warmer and more immediate than we had ever heard in there. So we're going to build on that next summer, assuming we get to go back in next summer. We were also proud that all of our artistic team for this show were artists of color. Our director choreographer, Carlos Mendoza, his assistant Lori Marie Munoz, our hair and makeup designer Danae Jimenez, our musical director Thomas W. Douglas, our lighting designer Adam Honore, our costume designer Danita Lee, and we were able to use the national touring set by Ana Luisos. We really felt we got the right team in place to do an authentic version of this show. And our cast, we started out with Ernie Pruneda, who was in our company as a resident, as a company member when he was in college, Oklahoma City University. He had this big, operatic, beautiful voice. We featured him in our production of Maury Yeston's Phantom. I had no idea he could do rap, but he made his Broadway debut in Sister Act. And then I saw Ernie play Usnavi in the Heights at Orlando Shakespeare Festival, where he won their Broadway World Award as Best Actor, and he was sensational. So I was delighted he was available to come. We had a cast full of folks with Broadway credentials, some of whom had played their roles before, either on Broadway or on the national tour. And it was a very happy company, and we were very excited with the way it came together. So, the musical theater has lots of voices, and I think as time goes forward, we're getting better and better about letting us hear them authentically. Right now, we should be able to go into the movie theaters and see the lavish new film version of In the Heights that was supposed to open this summer. But it's been postponed until next summer. So we don't have to wait. We get to see a little bit of In the Heights today. On the other hand, Lin-Manuel Miranda and Thomas Kail's film version of the Broadway cast of Hamilton was supposed to be opening next year, but they moved it up to this summer. It'll start airing on Disney Plus starting July 3rd. Before that happens, we're going to get together some of our Music Theater Wichita alumni who have been in Hamilton to share some of their insights with us before we see the film. But for now, it's In the Heights. Enjoy.